What up, guys? This is Zach.
Hey, this is Kyle.
Welcome again to New Angle Sports Talk. Okay, that's starting to become a tongue twister. But yeah, tonight we're gonna recap the Houston Rockets blowout against Utah Jazz, and we'll get started.
Yeah, so the Rockets came in to tonight's game with a huge win in Game One. They were a 6.5 point favorite tonight at home. Uh, the first half, they came out just killing it. They scored 39 in the first quarter compared to Utah Jazz's 19.
20-point lead.
Yeah, 20-point lead right out the gate. Scored 31 in the second quarter. They trailed off a little bit in the second half, but they never gave up the lead. It was pretty much over after the first half. The big thing for the Rockets tonight, compared to the Jazz, was overall field goal percentage was 48% to about 40% for the Jazz. But the biggest thing was their three-point percentage. Rockets went 17 for 42 at about 40.5% compared to 8 for 38 for the Jazz. So they shot about 21%. That is crazy. I don't know if in Game One they shot that bad for a 3-point for the Jazz. Was it that bad last game, Zach?
Yeah, I can find out in just a second. I feel like there's a trend coming up with some of these teams who are basically just getting blown out. I feel like we've seen a lot of blowouts out of this playoff, and it really comes down to shooting threes. I feel like every single game we've talked about, it's like we're specifically highlighting the 3-point percentage. Not really assists. Maybe we talked about the assists a little bit in the Denver and Spurs recap, but a lot of it's coming down to who's making threes and who's not making threes.
Yeah.
Who's getting good shots and who's not getting good shots. Here is a prime example again of hustle plays, second chance points, good open 3-pointers, good. Well, really, they just get good 3-pointers just in general.
Yeah.
You saw Eric Gordon hit some deep threes, in the spots that he likes. PJ Tucker hitting it, I think 4 for 7, if I remember correctly, from threes, and he hit a lot of those on the corners as well too. That's his spot. So,
Oh yeah, favorite.
yeah. Then obviously you got Chris Paul and James Harden, who just hit it from anywhere, it feels like. But yeah, I think the recap on this one was definitely just 3-point percentage. I don't think the Jazz really didn't play. I don't think that they played bad. I think they did hustle. They did show some effort in areas, but when they just keep hitting threes, it's demoralizing. I think that's the same thing that we've kind of seen in the Thunder and who are they playing?
Trailblazers.
Yeah, Trailblazers. I went blank there. We're seeing that same thing in that series as well too, where one team just hits threes, and it's really hard to come back from that.
Oh yeah.
Really, really difficult. So
Well,
I think,
the Jazz dominated in the paint, in the points, but when you're getting killed from 3-point land like they were, it doesn't matter. I mean,
yeah, you score 20 points in the points in the paint, and that's the same thing like you said with the Thunder. They were crushing it from points in the paint.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to shooting threes and shooting twos, yeah, the twos are probably more efficient, assuming you're not giving up wide open threes. But the problem is you are giving up wide open threes sometimes, and they're making twos as well too. So it's just one of those things where they got to lock. I mean, I feel like we're on repeat right now, explaining the same thing with the teams. They just need to hit threes. They need to get back in the rhythm, find out threes. I think that changes a lot. I think that when they get to Utah, they get in that hometown crowd. They get pumped up. They got a supporting cast around them again with the fan base and everything like that. I think that changes it. Same thing with the Thunder. I think that they come back in Game 3. You mentioned something in Game 2 where Colin Coward was like, put all your money on Game 2 that the Thunder are going to win. Well, they didn't win. But if I'm putting all my money, I'm probably putting the Thunder on Game 3 because, and the same thing with maybe Utah with Game 3 as well too. If you're a Utah fan, I think the same thing because it's like, the way that they trended as well too. It's like they should be coming back from this, and when you get around your hometown crowd, I think it changes things. Now, one thing that I did notice is like last year, obviously the Rockets and the Jazz were in the playoffs with each other last year in the second round. The series went 4-1. The Utah Jazz won Game 1 and won Game 3 through 5. Utah Jazz got Game 2, and that was it. Now, particularly in Game 2, there wasn't – I was trying to look at the outliers. There really wasn't that many outliers of, like, as far as huge performances in game 2. I think as far as Utah, as far as winning the games, they don't need somebody to score 50 points. They don't need somebody to score 40 points for them to win. They just need to get back to playing team ball and getting good shots and playing good defense. So go ahead, Kyle. You have anything else to say about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the guys that need to show up in particular are Donovan Mitchell and Joe Ingles. They were saying on the game tonight when Joe Ingles, is making more than 10 points that they typically.
He only had 7 tonight.
Yeah, they typically win a lot of their games when he at least scores 10. But I mean, Joe Ingles didn't show up tonight. Donovan Mitchell, he had an okay game.
11.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, that's not even an okay game. That's pretty bad for his standards. Because last year, he was the man in the playoffs last year, at least for the first couple rounds. But
last year in this series, he had a low-scoring game of 10, and obviously they lost that one as well too.
Yeah.
But his scoring totals last year were 21, 17, 10, 25, and 24. So 3 games out of the 5 he played, he scored over 20. I think you're right.
Yeah, the bench scoring for the Jazz was the only reason they didn't get beat by 40 tonight. Because they were well on their way, but they kind of were a spark in the fourth quarter. Their starters have to show up. I mean, you can't have Joe Ingles scoring 7 and Mitchell scoring 11 and expect to win the game, and then let the Rockets shoot 40 to 50% from 3. It's just they're gonna get swept if that's the case. But like you said, they're going back home.
Hometown.
Let's hope they can watch the film, kind of see what went wrong, make some adjustments. I'm sure the Rockets will too. So I think for a lot of the home teams, the Thunder, the Jazz, they're gonna come back home and hopefully defend their home court and make a series out of this. But I don't like the Jazz chances. When I filled out my bracket, I thought it would go at least six or 7 games, but I still think the Houston Jazz series is probably going to be over in 5 or 6 games.
Okay. So you still have it maybe it's possibly 6, right? Or do you think it'd be 5?
I think the Jazz will come in this next game and probably win. I think I would not be surprised if the Rockets took the next 2. So I could see it going 5 games. Right. And I see the Thunder being in the same position. Honestly, I have no faith in either one of those teams after watching those first 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's my prediction. I may totally be wrong. For my Thunder's sake, I hope I am wrong on that one. I would really love them to take both games and still won from Portland.
Well, I think I'm going the opposite way. I think Utah gets it together this next couple of games. I think they tie it back up at 2-2. Honestly, I think that I think there's a reason why we kind of were hesitant on this series because we saw them be good last year. They saw them their games weren't blowouts last year when they played each other in the second round. So they were good contested games and stuff. Maybe you got some garbage minutes and stuff, and it boosted up the score a little bit. But I think for the most part, there was a very, 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 very competitive series. And these guys have seen each other a ton over the last 2 years. This is the second time in a row being in the playoffs against each other. You play them 4 times a year each year, so it's like that you have plenty of experience with these guys.
Right.
You know exactly what their game plan is. It just really comes down to execution and involvement and things like that. But this game will be back on Game 3. Will be on Saturday at 9:30 p.m. We'll recap that one again if we can. And kind of give you guys a Game 3. Hopefully I'm right with a Game 3 win with Utah, but Kyle might be also right. You said that they might win. They might lose Game 3, right? You thought? Is that your prediction?
My prediction is the Jazz will win Game 3.
Okay.
And then lose the next 2 after that.
All right.
And I foresee that happening with the Thunder as well. I think both series are over in 5 games.
4-1. Wow. Okay, gotcha. All right, guys. Well, that was pretty much it for this recap. Again, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us what you want us to talk about. Again, we want to hear your feedback so we know we're talking about the right topics and something that you're interested in. And that's pretty much it for this video. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. We got lots of videos coming out tomorrow. Comment, like, subscribe, and keep a lookout for it.
All right. Later, guys.
See ya.